It was a warm summer morning in the quaint tourist town of Riverdale when Kai Tanaka stepped off the bus, his eyes wide with excitement and a cheerful smile playing on his lips. The young Japanese tourist had dreamed of this trip for years, eager to immerse himself in the rich cultural tapestry that had captivated him since childhood. Clutching his well-worn guidebook, Kai set off down the bustling main street, his gaze darting from one charming storefront to the next. The aroma of freshly baked pastries wafted through the air, mingling with the cheerful chatter of locals and tourists alike. It was a scene straight out of a storybook, and Kai found himself grinning from ear to ear. However, as he ventured deeper into the heart of the town, his brow furrowed in confusion. The map in his guidebook seemed to bear little resemblance to the winding streets and unexpected turns that lay before him. He paused at a street corner, craning his neck to peer at the faded street signs, but the English words danced mockingly before his eyes, their meanings lost in a sea of unfamiliarity. Undeterred, Kai pressed on, determined to find his way to the town's renowned museum, where a rare exhibit of ancient Japanese artifacts awaited him. He had been looking forward to this moment for months, and he refused to let a little confusion dampen his spirits. As he turned another corner, a weathered bookstore caught his eye, its window display overflowing with an eclectic array of volumes. A glimmer of hope flickered in Kai's heart, and he quickened his pace, pushing open the heavy oak door and stepping into the cool interior. The bell above the door tinkled merrily, announcing his arrival, but the gruff voice that greeted him was anything but welcoming. "What do you want?" barked a grizzled man from behind the counter, his bushy eyebrows knitting together in a scowl that seemed etched into his very features. Kai swallowed hard, his limited English failing him as he struggled to find the right words. Excuse me," he managed, his accent thick and his voice wavering. "I am looking for museum. Can you help me?" The man, whom Kai would later learn was the infamous Mr. Grumbles, regarded him with a mixture of disdain and impatience. "Museum? What museum? There are a dozen museums in this town. How am I supposed to know which one you're looking for?" Kai's cheeks flushed with embarrassment as he fumbled with his guidebook, flipping through the pages in a desperate attempt to find the information he needed. "Japanese exhibit," he tried again, his fingers tracing the faded photograph of an intricately carved Netsuke figure. But Mr. Grumbles had already lost interest, turning his attention back to the stack of books he was shelving with an air of indifference. "Can't help you," he grunted, waving a dismissive hand in Kai's direction. Dejected, Kai slumped his shoulders and made his way toward the door, his dream of exploring the exhibit slipping further away with each step. Just as he reached for the handle, a gentle voice called out from the back of the store. "Excuse me, sir. Maybe I can help you." Kai turned to see a young girl, no older than 15, emerging from behind a towering bookshelf. Her warm smile and kind eyes immediately put him at ease, and he felt a flicker of hope rekindled within him. "My name is Emily," she said, approaching him with an outstretched hand. "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation with Mr. Grumbles. He can be a bit gruff at times." Kai gratefully accepted her handshake, his spirits lifting at her friendly demeanour. "Hello, Emily. I am Kai, from Japan. I'm trying to find the museum with the Japanese exhibit, but I am lost." Emily nodded in understanding, her gaze drifting to the guidebook clutched in Kai's hands. "That book looks a bit outdated," she observed astutely. "The town has changed a lot in recent years. Let me see if I can help you find your way." With a gentle touch on his arm, Emily guided Kai back into the heart of the bookstore, settling them both at a small table tucked away in a cosy corner. She listened intently as Kai attempted to describe the exhibit he was searching for, her brow furrowed in concentration as she pieced together the bits of information he could provide. Sensing his frustration, Emily held up a hand, a warm smile spreading across her face. "Why don't we start with something simpler?" she suggested. "Tell me, Kai, what do you see when you look around this bookstore?" Kai blinked in surprise, momentarily taken aback by the unexpected question. But as he allowed his gaze to wander, taking in the rows upon rows of books, the comfortable chairs and the warm, inviting ambience, he found himself relaxing ever so slightly. "I see books," he began, his voice tentative but growing in confidence. Many, many books, and chairs for reading. It is cozy, like home. Emily beamed, nodding her encouragement. That's great, Kai. You're doing really well. Now let's try something a little harder. Can you tell me where the front door of the bookstore is? Kai's eyes scanned the room, his brow furrowing in concentration. After a moment, he pointed toward the entrance, his finger trembling slightly. The door. It is over there, yes? Perfect, Emily exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with pride. You're getting the hang of it already. Now, one more question. Can you describe how to get from this table to the front door? For a moment, Kai's confidence wavered, the weight of the unfamiliar language bearing down on him. But then, slowly, the pieces began to fall into place. He took a deep breath, picturing the path in his mind, and spoke with newfound clarity. To get to the door, I must stand up from this table, he began, miming the action as he spoke. Then I walk straight ahead, past the bookshelves. When I reach the end, I turn right and go through the doorway. The door is there, by the window. Emily clapped her hands together, her face alight with joy. You did it, Kai. That's exactly right. See, you know more English than you think. A sense of accomplishment washed over Kai, and he couldn't help but return Emily's radiant smile. For the first time since arriving in Riverdale, he felt a glimmer of hope that he might actually be able to navigate this confusing new world. Emboldened by his newfound confidence, Kai turned his attention back to the reason for his visit. Emily, can you help me find the museum with the Japanese exhibit? I have come so far to see it. Emily's expression turned thoughtful as she considered his request. After a moment, she reached for a nearby notepad and pencil, sketching a simple map with practiced ease. The museum you're looking for is called the Riverdale Cultural Centre, she explained, her pencil tracing the winding path she had drawn. It's not too far from here, but the route can be a bit tricky if you're not familiar with the area. Kai leaned in, studying the map intently, as Emily walked him through the directions step by step. First, you'll want to exit the bookstore and turn right onto Main Street, she began, her finger tracing the path on the map. Go straight for 2 blocks until you reach the intersection with Maple Avenue. There, you'll want to turn left and continue down Maple for about 4 blocks. As Emily spoke, Kai repeated the instructions aloud, committing each detail to memory. Right on Main Street, straight for 2 blocks. Left on Maple Avenue, 4 blocks. Emily nodded, her expression one of patient encouragement. That's right, Kai. You're doing great. Now, when you reach the big oak tree on the corner, you'll want to turn right onto Elm Street. The Cultural Centre will be on your left, about halfway down the block. You can't miss it. It's a big red brick building with white columns out front. Kai's eyes shone with a newfound determination as he traced the final leg of the journey on Emily's map. Right on Elm Street, big red building on left, he repeated, the words rolling off his tongue with growing confidence.